This morning's guest starts her Christmas meal with 3,000 pounds of turkey. Meet her, coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the coastal South Carolina chapter of the American Red Cross on Pampas Drive in Myrtle Beach near the soon-to-open Market Common on the former Myrtle Beach Air Force Base. We're focused on the local chapter here, the coastal South Carolina chapter, and we're visiting with its chief executive officer, Angela Nicholas. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning, Greg.
What does that feel like to be called the chief executive officer? That's a big deal. I mean, since you were down in the trenches all the time.
We are, and I thank you. Yes, it is a big deal, and it's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy what I do.
Absolutely. Well, you know, there was so many things happening. We were last together in the earlier part of the year at Stevens Carpet Mill outlet there on, obviously, on Frontage Road next door to the Sun News, your former employer. It was great being over there, and of course to hear about so many of the activities happening with the coastal South Carolina chapter. 3 very large counties, Horry, Georgetown, and Williamsburg County.
Yes, very large, 3,000 square miles, about 335,000 people in the 3-county area.
Is that right?
Yes.
335,000 people in these 3 counties. Wow, that's
Right.
a lot to serve. And of course, as you said earlier before we started filming, fires don't discriminate, hurricanes don't discriminate, tornadoes, other things don't discriminate. The Red Cross has to be there all the time, along with lots of other people, but to support the victims of these disasters.
That's right. The Red Cross is here 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. We have disaster action team members that will respond to fires if they need to go out in the community. If someone's home burns at 4 a.m. and they need to call us, then we have people that will go out and assist them. And we provide some immediate shelter and food and clothing for those folks in need.
This happens often.
Oh,
this
yes.
happens more
yes.
than I think people know. They may see it on the news or read about it in the paper, but not really think about it happening all the time, but it really does.
That's right. You know, I like to say most people think about the Red Cross when it comes to blood donations, which is a wonderful thing because we need the blood donations, or they think about us when there's a major disaster like a hurricane. But our day-to-day operations are responding to fires, home fires. And to that individual family, that is a major disaster.
Right.
And you know, you think about children losing their school clothes and their school books and everything that's near and dear to them.
Right.
So this year, since January 1st, we've had 185 responses to fires in the 3-county area.
Wow, 185.
Which is huge.
Boy.
Right.
Where do you all get the funds to operate, Angela? How do you have, because obviously you've got to take donations to be able to reinvest them back into the victims of those 185 fires, let alone all the other things, the educational side. You're trying to do these mannequins and otherwise here, right behind us, to get out in the community, make sure folks know about ways the Red Cross can impact them.
Exactly. I mean, you know, the fire responses, the disaster response is one part. We have the military emergency communications that we provide around the clock for military families. We have the life-saving skills courses such as CPR and first aid. But all of the funding that we have here in the local Red Cross comes locally. So we rely very heavily on the community and the wonderful donors that we have in the community. And of course, upcoming in 2 weeks from yesterday is our big Christmas Day dinner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And,
you all have raised all the money for that already, right?
No. I wish we had,
Sorry, that's
Greg.
a leading question. Yeah. Sorry.
I wish we had, but you know, the community's very generous, and we're about halfway there. But we need a total of about $10,000 for that.
Oh boy!
Because we feed over 3,000 people.
Is that right?
That's
on
right.
Christmas Day?
On Christmas Day.
Wow! Not only at the 3 church locations, but also the plethora of folks that
Yes.
get it delivered to them.
Right. We have agencies that we partner with, such as Street Reach and Mobile Meals, Meals on Wheels, all those agencies that are not open on Christmas Day to do their normal feeding. The Red Cross actually provides delivered meals to those agencies as well, so that they can take it out to their folks. And, you know, any individual in the community that needs a place to eat a hot meal on Christmas Day can come to one of the churches, Blaine United Methodist in
Right.
Murrells Inlet, First Presbyterian Church in Myrtle Beach, and this year we have a new church, Trinity United Methodist, out in the Andrews area.
Right, I saw that.
And that church is actually reaching out some into Williamsburg County, too,
Good,
to
yes.
provide some meals. But that's a huge undertaking to do that Christmas Day dinner. And, you know, we really reach out to the community. And every year, some angels come out, and they help us make our goals. So we hope, you know, we're going to see that this year
Those
as
angels
well.
we'll see in the next less than 2 weeks now.
Right,
That's right.
right.
It being the
Getting close.
golly, the 12th today, and so 2 weeks from yesterday. So there is a chance if a viewer needs to get off to work now or get family off to school, but they want to make a difference for that Christmas Day dinner or just in general for the Red Cross, is there a good phone number or a website they could visit to find out how they could help?
Oh, absolutely. They can call us right here at the chapter headquarters at 477-0020.
Okay.
Or check our website at coastalscarc.org. We have
Okay.
information on there.
Yeah.
They can make a credit card donation over the phone or just drop a check in the mail to 2795 Pampas Drive.
Right. And that's a secure website. They can also make a donation online, right?
We are not set up for that
Okay.
right
Excuse
now.
me, I'm sorry.
But
Right.
that's why we can do the credit
Good.
cards over
Do
the
it
phone.
over the telephone.
Right.
That's great. I'm sorry. I should have interjected that because I know the phone's a great vehicle and people like to know they're talking to somebody on the other end and it can be handled over the phone.
Exactly, and we do have someone manning the desk at all hours. We have a great core of volunteers that
Sure.
work with the Christmas dinner.
Folks can come by here. This is such an easy location to find. If they enter from the former front gate or off of 17 Business, they just take their first left on Pampas, and then it comes straight over here, right by here. You're right next to the new Allied Health Center that's under construction,
Right.
and
That's
right
it.
across from the Cathedral Academy and the Cathedral Church there. What a great location, very easy to find. And if you're coming in off the bypass, you just take one of your first rights, I guess the first big right, heading towards Georgetown Tech. And
Correct, Myers Avenue.
Myers Avenue, which is very easy to find. It
Come
dead
right out
ends
to
and then
Pampas.
a left on Pampas. So real easy to find here. And folks need to come by. I think they pop in and say, "Do you need me?" They would find that there is anyone in the office has got a litany of things where some help is needed.
Absolutely. You know, the Red Cross, we work with volunteers constantly. We have a very small paid staff, so volunteers is our core work group.
Real quick about yourself, Angela, what brought you to the Myrtle Beach area, to the Grand Strand?
I wanted to live at the beach.
Oh, good.
I wanted to live where the weather's warm, you know.
Yes, very definitely.
And we've had a
Absolutely.
great year, so.
Have you been into working with, I mentioned the Sun News, your former employer, have you worked in the, giving back world, this type of a business before, or this type of world before?
Not really as a profession. I mean, I've been involved with a lot of nonprofit groups in the past, but I have a journalistic background, as you know, and
Yes.
spent most of my career in the news industry.
Right.
But transferring over to the nonprofit world has been very rewarding, and I truly enjoy the work that I do with the Red Cross. We have a wonderful mission. We go home every day feeling that we've done something very worthwhile for the community. So.
There was a tag on the top of one of the Red Cross pages that was looking through earlier this morning, directly touches the lives of 1 out of every 5 Americans. Directly.
That's correct.
Touching, not the anecdote, not off the side, but directly touching 1 out of 5 Americans' lives. That's a big deal.
It really is. It's amazing if you sit down and talk to people and you start talking about Red Cross. Almost everybody has a Red Cross story to tell in some form or other, you know, because they've either been personally touched or someone in their family, or it might have even been in their childhood.
Right.
But, you know, certainly a lot of the veterans are think very highly of the Red Cross because they've been helped in one way or another.
Now, you mentioned the donation aspect. The donations really push it. I think a lot of folks are under the assumption, and obviously based on what you said, the wrong assumption that the Red Cross was set up by the government, is therefore funded by the government.
That's right. We are chartered by Congress to do our work nationally, but we do not receive government funding to do that. So we are totally separate from the government. And as I said, we raise our own funds to support our own chapters. So I always ask people, you know, close your eyes and imagine not having a Red Cross chapter in your area that you can turn to in disaster, and that's scary because we are the source, you know, that people turn to, and we're proud. We're very proud that that's the case. So we reach out to the community to help keep our doors open and make sure that we can fulfill our mission.
You also turn to the United Way. You all are a community agency of the United Way.
We are a wonderful community agency of United Way, and are great supporters of United Way, and we couldn't live without that support.
Right, right. Everyone, whether it's direct donations or through the United Way, it's a critical role there. And of course, when you think about, as we were talking earlier, there's not a typical fire, for instance, or a typical hurricane,
Right.
but there are lots of fires that occur. Can you give viewers a sense of, let's say, the aftermath when you get the call here, who the call is coming from about a fire? How does that work? And let's say there's a family involved, a family of 5.
Right.
What's going on there in your volunteers' minds or in your mind as you hear that phone call?
Well, obviously, because we have such a large territory to work, we have to rely on working with the fire departments.
Okay.
And we work very closely with them, so they notify the family immediately that the Red Cross resources are there if they choose to use them. So at any hour of the night, if a family's burned out at 4 in the morning and they have to leave in their pajamas and no shoes, they can get immediate assistance from the Red Cross. I mentioned earlier our disaster action team volunteers. These are highly trained volunteers who are on call 24 hours a day. Obviously, they take turns and rotate, so the same person's not always on call. But we will respond to the site if that's needed, and we will help that family get into shelter for the evening, and we will provide them with some financial resources in the form of a debit card. And they can take that card right to a 24-hour Walmart or whatever's available so they can get some help right away with food and clothing.
That's tremendous.
It is. You know, it's immediate emergency help. And that really helps the people get back on their feet again because...
Quickly, yes.
Quickly.
As you say, I mean, that idea that because fires don't discriminate, it could be 3 a.m. that
Exactly.
they're finally leaving the scene and they're coming to you or someone there on the scene's handing them that debit card and they got nothing.
Right.
And they're going somewhere, whether it's Walmart or someplace, they're Kroger or whatever it is that's open 24 hours. They can get clothes
some help.
and something.
And find shelter. If they, you know, some people choose to stay with family. Some people don't have family to stay with, so we can help put them up for a few days in a hotel until they can figure out what their next step is. And, you know, many times they've lost all their credentials and their important papers and everything, so we provide them with some resources, help them make contact with the agencies that can help them get back on their feet, get started on the road to recovery. And we also provide some mental health counseling if that's needed as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Of course, with the holidays being a time where fires and candles and other things are out, where they may not have them during the rest of the year, they may not be thinking about even using those jacks in their house where they're going to be putting in Christmas lights and otherwise. These are important things to think about, particularly now.
It is.
Do the incidence of fires rise around this time of the year?
They do. Sometimes they do. And we really promote planning and precaution and just, you know, trying to think through what you're doing in your home so that you can be safe.
Right.
And every family needs a fire plan. Every family needs a way to know that their members are safe, have a safe place outside the home if your house catches fire, have a certain place designated that the family can meet so you know that everyone's out of the house.
Right.
Perhaps have a family member somewhere else as a contact so everybody can call in. That's mainly during a hurricane or a major storm, but everyone needs to have a disaster plan in their own home so that they can be as safe as possible.
I just sit here, I almost get cringe just thinking about it. What would we do? What would my daughter and I, in this instance, do if there's a fire, other than scooping her up? I mean, at age 5, but for parents that are going through that with children of all ages, they need to share it with them, get them on the common plan.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is so critical to think through.
Right, and to walk your children through it too.
Right.
You know, I even have a fire drill here where all my staff knows where the meeting location is outside.
Right,
So if
right.
anything happens, we have a certain designated place so we can count heads and make sure
Yeah.
everybody's safe. And yes, you should do that with your child.
Right.
Even as young as 5, you know, they can learn some of the safety tips.
This is so important. Again, 477-0020. If a viewer, whether they can make a donation or even give their time just to get some practical skills, going on the website, there's a lot of great information there, links to a multitude of resources, as well as just learning about the 3 counties and places they can go during disasters. There's more than just fires and hurricanes. What are some of the other things that viewers may not think about, that we all may not think about, that the Red Cross is really making a difference in?
Well, you know, there could be tornadoes, floods, man-made disasters, some sort of terrorism or biohazards. We respond and help when there are major forest fires, and we assist the fire response or emergency response personnel. We work very, very closely with the county emergency preparedness folks, so they know that they can call on us for providing canteen services, making sure the emergency response folks are fed and have drinks when they're out there. Search and rescue operations, you know, boaters in our area lots of times.
Right.
So a lot of different areas. And working with the military is real high on our priority too. Of course, 126 years ago when the American Red Cross was founded, it basically was founded because of the need for assisting the military. And we continue to consider that a high priority today.
Well, we know there's clearly financial needs, Angela. Are there other needs? Would you have, can folks make gifts in kind? Can they give of their time? What are some of the volunteer needs? Someone doesn't have funds, if they don't have staples or clothes or otherwise that they can donate. What are some time needs that folks could give if they've got a little time in the day? What are some things they could do? Do they have to be overly mobile? Can they sit in an office? Can they get on the telephone? What are some things that our viewers right now could do to help?
Right. We man our front office every day with volunteers.
Okay.
And so that's one area. There are many different kinds of volunteer opportunities, anywhere from manning the telephone,
Right.
Booking classes, CPR
Okay.
first aid classes, to going out and being more active with the disaster action teams. But
Right.
a lot of information's on our website. We're always recruiting volunteers and would love to hear from anyone that would be interested in learning more about the volunteerism at the Red Cross.
And if someone picked up the phone this morning right now, 7:25 or so, and called, they could leave a message if someone didn't hear.
Yes, we have 24-hour phone service.
Right.
Our regular hours are 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday.
Okay, so they could even wait till late and call and say, here, I've got 2 hours on Wednesdays, or 2 hours on Thursdays, or 3 hours on Friday mornings. I'd like to give you some time.
Right.
And you can think of something that they can do.
Well, we have a volunteer coordinator that will
Okay.
sit down with a new person and go over all the opportunities
Great.
and get the paperwork filled out. And we definitely, you know, flexible schedules are wonderful. Some
Great.
people just have a few hours a week, and we try to work that in for them.
Right. Okay. Great, Angela. You know, of course, you mentioned the blood component, and that has a tie-in. That's a different location. Is that correct?
That's correct, but of course it's all under the same Red Cross umbrella, so
Right.
we work closely with the blood services. But, you know, especially at this time of the year, there is a higher need for blood donations because of the holidays and a lot of travel, and so we always want people to consider going into making an appointment and coming in to donate blood.
Okay, very important. You mentioned the 185 families since the first of the year. You've also got some other facts and figures there.
Right,
Can
well,
you share? We've got 7 or 8 minutes. Of course, we want to talk
Okay.
about the Christmas Day dinner and some of the basics there for viewers, the timing and otherwise, to make sure they know about it. But some of the facts and figures there, if you don't mind sharing some of the significant figures there for families.
Sure, I'd love to. One of the things that's significant this year is that we do see a rise in the number of children who have been involved in home fires. And every Christmas we accept new donated toys like some of the ones that you've seen here today.
Right, yeah.
And
right.
we invite the fire families back in because obviously it's really hard to get back to normal, and the families have lost a lot. So we do accept donated toys, and we have 44 more children this year than we had last year. So in the three-county area, we're looking at 282 children
that have been impacted by fire since the first of the year, just in the last 11 and a half months. Wow.
Yes. So that's, when you think about that, that's a lot of children in our area that have lived through a major disaster in their own home. So we do, and since January 1st also, we've spent over $108,000 assisting the fire families. So it adds up pretty quickly, and that's why we have to ask for the donations, you know, year-round to come in. But on the Christmas Day dinner, we definitely want people to come out, you know, and enjoy that. And First Presbyterian's hours are 1 to 4 p.m.
Okay, 1 to 4.
And then Blaine United and Trinity United Methodist hours are 1 to 3.
1 to 3.
And that's if you want to sit down at the church and network and, you know, feel the warmth and share the holiday season with the other folks there at the church. Otherwise, you can call in and get on the delivery list.
Okay, absolutely. And you said there's a multitude of groups that are helping to handle delivery, but at the same time, they're just individuals involved in delivering as well.
A host of volunteers, and some of these people have come out year after year after year. Janice Ash Saliano heads this up.
Yes, Janice is amazing. Yes.
She's helped found it. She did, right after Hugo, Hurricane Hugo.
And her daughter's been involved as well,
Carmen.
and probably her whole family involved.
Yes, husband Skip, daughter Carmen, Janice, they work around the clock, you know, for weeks and weeks getting ready for this. And
that's amazing.
Coordinating volunteers. And Mark Robicki is a chef who, and wonderful up at the Sheraton Holiday Inn Convention Center. I mean, not Holiday Inn.
The Convention Center Hotel, yes.
The Sheraton Hotel. Yeah. They allow us to use their kitchen facilities.
Unbelievable.
Because 3,000 pounds of turkey.
3,000 turkeys?
3,000 pounds of
turkey.
Right.
Yeah,
it's still a lot of turkeys.
Yeah, that is.
So imagine cooking all that. But
that's amazing.
You know, the volunteers have a great time getting ready and just sharing that holiday.
And Mark Robicki there has been doing that year after year, much like Janice.
Yes.
And her commitment there, of course. And
even though he's moved away, he comes back. He takes his vacation and comes back to Myrtle Beach.
Is that right? He no longer lives here in the area.
He lives in North Carolina, but he takes a vacation to come back to do that cooking and coordinate all of that. So.
That is tremendous. And, of course, First Presbyterian Church has been a home location for that for many years.
Yes.
Blaine was added on, and as you said, Trinity United Methodist Church there in Andrews this year. And, of course, but this is for folks. Meals can be provided on the mobile side. Anyone in the three-county area, is that right? I mean, virtually anyone. Sure.
You know, and it's not just for the homeless, although, you know, that's a big part of it, but also there are a lot of widows and widowers out there who have no one else to spend Christmas with.
Right.
And it's the kind of dinner where you're welcome to come in and sit down and have a great holiday meal.
And if folks are looking for that or they don't know where the three churches are located, can they call this office to find out?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Okay. 843-477-0020.
Right.
That's wonderful. It is so important to get folks in this office to see. Anything else from the Christmas Day dinner that you want to make sure folks know about?
Well, Janice and the volunteers will also accept coats and gloves and caps, and there are people that come in every year and they need those things, so we do accept those types of donations to have at the churches for people to pick up.
That's great, absolutely. Not only to pick up a great meal, but also pick up some clothing of some sort to be able to leave a little warmer.
Right, and at this time of the year,
very
you need to be sure everybody's warm.
A day like today on a Wednesday morning where it is very chilly outside, absolutely. You know, you think for yourself, Angela, having not worked in a nonprofit environment, but volunteered a lot of your life in a nonprofit environment, really wrapping around it. What is it particularly about the Red Cross now that got you to make that move over here? And of course, the Coastal South Carolina chapter has even had quite a bit of changes and improvements over your tenure here now as the chief executive officer.
Right. I started out with the Horry County chapter, and then we merged with Georgetown to combine the three county chapters. And we work regionally also with the PD chapter. But I think it's the mission of the Red Cross and the reputation and the fact that we do have a 126-year history of serving the public. And, you know, we're very open and honest and ready to provide services around the clock. And I was asked recently, what do you do when you run out of money? Can you not just turn people away? And absolutely not. We would never turn anyone away that qualifies for our services. We will actually go out and borrow money from a bank if we have to. We don't like to do that, you know, but there are times when we have had to do that. And we really, that's just our mission. You know, if you need the services of the Red Cross will be there. And I think that's what helped me make that change. It's just a wonderful mission. Great way to make a living.
That's great. Those are great words. Thank you, Angela, for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Angela Nicholas, the Chief Executive Officer of the Coastal South Carolina chapter of the American Red Cross. We're talking about the 19th annual Red Cross Christmas Day dinner. Two critical things that Angela wanted to share. One was that it's Christmas Day. Christmas Day. The other is a four-letter word, simple word. We all know it, free. F-R-E-E. A real opportunity to get out there, be with others. If you're needy of company, if you need to be with somebody, or if you're homeless or otherwise, think about this. 1 to 4 at First Presbyterian Church on Christmas Day. 1 to 3 at Blaine United Methodist Church, and 1 to 3 at Trinity United Methodist Church in Andrews. A real opportunity to be around others in what's oftentimes a very difficult day for a lot of people, as their memories are of loved ones they can't be with. And obviously for folks who just don't have a home and may need a jacket, you heard Angela say it. If you've got a jacket, can drop some off right here on Pampas Drive in Myrtle Beach or their Georgetown location. Take the time. Pick up the phone, 843-477-0020 or coastalscarc.org, coastalscarc.org. A great website, a lot of information. They still need money. We've got 2 weeks from yesterday. They need some donations. Pick up the phone, get your credit card out, give it over the phone, send a check in here to Pampas Drive, or just pop on by and drop something off. They need your help. Be a part of the Christmas Day dinner celebration, the 19th annual one at that. Angela Nicholas.